Hello, and welcome to the hottest week of the entire year. I'm going to go ahead and do my meal plan with you, and then just a little brief chat about where we're at right now. So, for next week, we are still going to be in a heat warning. It's not supposed to be quite as bad next week as it's been this week. I think it's supposed to be like lower 100s instead of 110 plus. But I'm going to be smart and not run my oven next week. So, I am planning a black bean burrito bowl. I'm sure you guys have seen me make burrito bowls before. So it's going to be kind of just basic, more of the same. I have most of the ingredients on hand. My primary motivation for doing this particular one is because I have a jar of salsa open and I need to use it before it starts to mold over. I just opened it this past week, but here lately, I just haven't been making any kind of Mexican inspired recipes other than I did make some enchiladas, but I didn't really use salsa on them. And I did have to throw out a jar of salsa last week, and I don't want to do that again. So I'm making something where I can use the salsa. So I will have this meal plan on just as a post on my YouTube page. And of course on the screen here as well, but I'm going to link the recipe down below. I'll link the recipes that I made this week. Even the black eyed peas and greens, I will look up because I did kind of pull one up just as a reference for amounts, but I did not use the seasonings that were on it. So I will put it down because it'll be kind of similar, but just know that what I used Bragg's liquid aminos. I used the Tony's Creole seasoning, which I use for anything that's kind of Creole inspired. Um, so those things in mind, but I will link the recipe that I looked at for you guys in case you want to look at it yourselves. And that's going to do it for the meal plan. The heat wave. This week, I have been outside more than you've seen. I've not been taking my camera out with me because, and you might have noticed in a couple of the clips where I did go outside, it's been extremely difficult to keep my lens clear because the humidity and the heat combined are so high that as soon as I walk outside with my lens, it's kind of like a pair of glasses where it just completely fogs over. But it's like it's so cold that it just takes forever to clear. Like I can wipe it clean and it instantly fogs back over. And I would have to like leave my camera out there for probably 30 minutes before I'm ready to use it in order for it to kind of acclimate to the conditions. And I still don't know what the humidity as high as it is if it ever would. So I really haven't been filming outside, but I have been out there every morning, including today. I went out first thing in the morning before there's any sun in the backyard. I mean, I get up, I have my coffee, and out the door I go, mosquito suit and all. But with this kind of heat and humidity, kind of the downfall of it is like you don't want to be outside. You want to stay indoors where it's cool. But also the garden, it needs some of its most attention during this time because the disease tries to take off really hard when it's this hot and humid. Pests are starting to increase in number. So it really is a lot more maintenance right now during a time when you really don't want to be out there. But I haven't been filming that just because the camera, it's too much to try to have to every 30 seconds go and wipe the camera lens clean so that you can see what I'm doing. So I haven't been filming it, but the blight has definitely been trying to take over the pumpkins, the cucumbers. And that poor hydrangea Annabelle, I have doubts as to whether it's going to come back last year because I've really been battling the blight on it all year. And it has been all but non-responsive to copper fungicide. And there is not much left of that plant right now. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we're only in like mid to late July. And we still have at least like a month, 6 weeks of this high heat to go. August sometimes can be a little unpredictable. Sometimes it's hot all the way through the month. Sometimes we have like a cool spell that pops up in the middle of the month. I mean, you just never really know. But at the very least, we probably have another month of this, if not more. And it's not uncommon around here in the Midwest. Like the fall and the spring are both very unpredictable. We may have really pleasant temperatures in September and October, and it may be in the 90s all the way through to the middle of October. Either one of those is a great possibility. So you just never really know what you're going to get. So we will see if that hydrangea Annabelle ends up surviving it. I really have my doubts. And if it doesn't, I guess I'm going to have to find one that is a little bit more disease hardy to put in its place, as much as I hate to do that. So I've always wanted a hydrangea Annabelle. But everything else is really like my roses and stuff that I've put out have been doing really well. They haven't been showing signs of disease. Dahlias, zinnias, maybe just a little bit, but it hasn't taken them over. So I really haven't had to spray near as much this year as I have in years past. But the pumpkins and cucumbers, definitely. I've trimmed a lot of leaves off. I've sprayed the heck out of them. They're doing pretty well, all things considered. So, if the hydrangea Annabelle is the only thing that really is taken over by disease and becomes a loss, I'm not going to complain too much because this is still the best year I've had for blight. I mean, I'll always have blight in my yard now that it's here. It's never going away. I have way too much stuff to try to do. I wanted to do like the heat treatment where you basically cover your beds in plastic and heat the soil to at least 130 degrees to kill it. The problem is it spread so far across my entire yard that there is just no fathomable way that I can do that. I mean, it's rose bushes, dahlias, hydrangeas, it's beds in the front, beds in the back. It's just more than I could reasonably ever think of managing. And then also things like my rose bushes, I can't risk killing them in order to get rid of the blight that's in the soil. If you superheat the soil to 130 degrees, it's surely going to kill the roots of those kinds of plants. And if you don't get rid of it everywhere, it's just going to be back next year. So it's not even worth it to try to do that. That was originally my intention, and I've changed my mind since then. So we're just going to keep having to treat it every year, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. So, anyhow, I'm going to quit chit chatting because I don't want to make this too terribly long, not any longer than it needs to be. But I am going to go outside and hop in my little tanning pool. I'm going to throw some fresh cold water in it and hop in there to cool off for a little bit, get my 20 minutes of sunlight for the day, and then I'm going to be back in to stay. So, um, with that, I will probably, I'm not going to film going outside. I was going to say I will probably end with my tanning pool, but I already know what's going to happen with this camera lens as soon as I do it. So we're just going to go ahead and end the vlog here, and you're going to have to take my word for it that I'm heading outside to cool off. So as always, thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and I will see you back here in the next vlog. Another hot one, I am sure. Bye.